Hello, everybody. I'm so excited to be here with you, making sure that we are live here. We are talking about self-sabotage. That is what we're talking about today. So, who is with me on this? Let me make sure that I am, in fact, live, which it says that I am. But I always double check. There we go. Okay, cool. All right. So I always like to double check. You never know what technology is going to bring. So hello, everybody. Welcome to another free training at Women on the Rise. I know that there has been, oh my gosh, so much buzz around this specific topic about self-sabotage. So being able to recognize that you are not alone. All right. I want to say that first. Hey, Joe. Hey, Renee. So I want to say that first and foremost is that you are not alone. We all have self-sabotage. So that is why I thought it was really, really important to be able to just call it to the carpet, to be able to bring it to light and look at all of the different ways that we actually do self-sabotage. So anybody else with me? Hello, Denise. Welcome. Anybody else with me? Anybody else self-sabotage? Like you have this really big, cool idea, or you have this, shoot, let's just look at the New Year's resolutions for a second, okay? Anybody ever create New Year's resolutions? Put a yes in the comments. I know I have. I'm not a huge fan of resolutions. I actually look at different ways that we just create different intentions for ourselves and stuff like that. So, anywho, anybody? Yeah, absolutely. We do. So we create these goals, we create these resolutions, and then who else is with me that like within like I don't know, I think it's like the average person actually releases those resolutions after like a month. I mean, like that's 4 weeks, maybe, give or take a week or so. Anybody else just like totally abandon those? Right. And again, I see this in just because we all have been there. We all have done that, whether it was this year or whether it was today. Anybody made like, a specific goal for today of like, today I'm going to wake up and this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to meditate. I'm going to journal. I'm going to do all the things. Right. And then we hit snooze and we hit snooze and we hit snooze. Right. So, being able to truly just like call this out and call it what it is of just like different ways that we totally self-sabotage is just so important. Knowing that we're not alone, knowing that other people do this. And we know this because research tells us that the majority of people who create resolutions end up abandoning them within, I want to say it was like 2 weeks. So being able to just call it out. So what we want to do here at, Women on the Rise, the Institute for Female Trailblazers, is to help you better understand what is going on and why you do this, because we don't want you to suffer, right? There's a lot of suffering when we consider failing or all of these different dreams that we had that we let go like as a failure. So being able to really embrace yourself with curiosity and compassion, we're here to guide you along the way to shine that light on the reasons why we self-sabotage. Why do we do what we do? Why do we set ourselves up? How do we set ourselves up for failure? I look at failure, and I use air quotes because I look at failure in different ways, right? It's just like, there are different ways to look at like everything that is a lesson, right? You don't really fail, or you can truly just look at it and be like, well, that didn't go as expected. Or like I failed at that one, right? I didn't launch quite the way that I wanted to. And then to be able to internalize that in a healthy way and move towards solution. Okay. So, hey, Monica, welcome. I was supposed to meditate today. My AirPods were not charged, so I went back to bed. 100%, right? That is the perfect example, Joe. So being able to even like, why didn't you plug in your AirPods, right? It could be because we forgot. It could be because there is an ulterior motive that our conditioned self sort of snuck in. Maybe there's like we find it difficult to meditate. Maybe we're scared to meditate, right? So there's so many different ways that we self-sabotage, and all different underlying like dialogue and stories that we tell ourselves. Now, why I'm bringing this all up so that we can shine a light on it is because the majority of our day is spent on autopilot. We aren't aware of these like self-sabotaging thoughts or behaviors. We are actually I want to say we're only aware of maybe 10% of our thoughts throughout the day. Okay. 10% of our thoughts. So that means that 90% of the time we are just functioning on autopilot. That's scary. Anybody else with me? Isn't that scary to you? It's sort of scary to me. And especially when I realized this 15 years ago, when I started my meditation mindfulness journey myself. So what we're doing is actually bringing some of those underlying currents of dialogue, of stories, of talk, of beliefs to the surface so that we can actually be way more intentional with what we're doing on a daily basis. How does that sound? Are you with us? Hey, Whitney, good to see you. Put a yes in the comments. You with me? Right? Do you want to be more aware so that you can be more intentional of how you're responding or reacting to a situation? Put a yes in the comments. So what I want to do, also, if you need the handout, put handout please in the comments, and Renee will be sure to get that over to you. Renee is with us. She is your success advisor. She is part of the team here at the Institute for Female Trailblazers, and she is truly here. We both are here to support you and create the most success in your life, whatever success means to you, right? And I'm not going to define success right now. Success means different things to different people. Okay. And there's no right or wrong to that. So it's just looking at what are the goals that I have had that I have had maybe for the past month, or maybe for the past year, or maybe for the past decade. That was me when I was starting my business, right? I go in and out of entrepreneurship, but that's another story for another day. But so whatever success means to you, that could be, being more kind to yourself. That could be spending more time with the people that you care about. That could be spending more time with yourself. That could be meditating. That could be financial success. That could be professional success, up leveling in your career. Hey, Shannon, welcome. So hey, Kelly, welcome. So being able to recognize what success is for you, and then recognizing without judgment. This is the key, ladies. Compassion, compassion, compassion. Okay. Without judgment, we are looking at this. With curiosity and compassion, we are looking at these patterns that we have developed over decades. Okay. So what I am going to talk about, hey, France, welcome. So, hey, Shannon. Oh, I love seeing all of you amazing women. So being able to, I told you it was a hot topic, self-sabotage, 5 ways that you are sabotaging your success. People will come. So whatever success means to you, we're going to dive a bit into why that is, why we are sabotaging, and then 5 different ways to recognize how we often sabotage. And this is through my almost 20 years of experience as a psychotherapist, as a counselor, a coach. So being able to take all of this information of thousands of people that I have helped throughout the years and bringing it to you to identify these are the top ways that we self-sabotage, and this is how we can move out of them. So again, if you need the handout, just put handout please, and we'll make sure that, yes, compassion, compassion, compassion. I love that, Kelly. So if you need the handout, just put handout please, and we'll be sure to get that over to you. So the first thing I want to identify here, and this is on your handout, is this concept of the conditioned self. Okay. The conditioned self is this saboteur, a very sweet, innocent part of us that is trying to keep us very safe. So the conditioned self, and where does it come from? That's what we're going to start with here. So the conditioned self is actually it's this inner part of us. It is this younger part of us that has had an experience that has impacted our life. And that experience actually left our inner child part of us hurt in some manner, and it caused us to feel unsafe, right? So when I'm looking at it, and many of you may have heard this before, whether you're in my program or you have gone through one of my workshops or my master classes, being able to look at the conditioned self, we have many, many conditioned parts of us. It actually, I mean, if you really want to get down and dirty with it, it starts as soon as we're born. Like, think about it. We come into this world, this beautiful, like, spiritual being coming into this world, into this body, and immediately we are taken out of the womb and slapped on the butt or the back or whatever and told what our name is, right? It's like, this is who you are. It starts from there, ladies, okay? So when we're looking at the conditioned part of us, the conditioned self, it's truly these moments. It's almost like you want to like time freeze all of these different moments in your life that are already in there, right? They're already in there telling you that you're not smart enough, you're not pretty enough, that you might be too much of something, right? You're just too loud, you're too much, you're too sensitive, right? And these words, these phrases, these belief systems, these beliefs created this conditioned part of you, right? So if I were to freeze time at my 8-year-old self, okay, and I look at some of the experience, one actually comes to me very, very quickly. When I want to say I was 8 or 9, it was right around there. And my parents were fighting about money. I remember it. And they were physically fighting, they were verbally fighting. And I just remember being very scared. And I had my brother at the time. I want to say it was both of my brothers, but I remember one specifically. And I grabbed them and I ran into the room with them, and I hid in the corner with them. And what that taught me was a few things. And again, my parents, whenever I talk about the conditioned self, ladies, I am not talking about blame. I am talking about awareness. Okay. So I want you to know that we do not live in blame as trailblazers. I want you to put that. I do not live in blame. I do not live in blame. That's very, very important, because that will keep us in victim. That will keep us in our negative, in like our sabotaging behaviors when we're blaming externally. Okay. This is truly just about awareness. Now, I know shit has happened. That is not your fault, right? That was not my fault, what happened. What it did was impact me, and it taught me a few things. It taught me that when people are yelling, there's fighting, and you better run, right? It taught me that money is not good because people fight about it, right? It taught me so many different things. There are layers upon layers upon layers of what that taught me, of what a relationship looks like, right? Again, I know that wasn't my parents' intentions. I know it. And that's what happens. So that 8-9-year-old part of me held on to that memory. I don't know if anybody in here has seen the Disney movie Inside Out. Has anybody ever seen that, Inside Out, where it's just like it's the core memory that actually created this belief system, right? So with that, hey, Abby, welcome. So with that, that's one of the conditioned parts of us, right? It's that it's not safe, that we have to stay safe. So fast forward, why does this matter about sabotaging? Okay, so fast forward to 24, 25 years old. Now let's say 25 years old. All right, so that happened when I was 8 or 9. Fast forward to 25 years old. And when my husband and I, we got married young, I consider it young. We got married at 24. We knew each other for a year. So we got together when we were 23. So I remember sitting at this table with him. Actually, I was standing, he was sitting, and we were having a discussion and we were not agreeing. And he is a military man and he has a very, very stern and strong and loud voice. And so when I hear that and we're not agreeing, my 8, 9 year old self comes running, okay, comes just running up into, and I didn't know this at the time. I just knew I was reacting because I was scared shitless and I didn't know what to do. So she comes running up and she's like, run, 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 right? So here I am, 25 years old, and I just literally throw my hands up. I'm like, I knew it. We should have never gotten married. This isn't going to work. Right. And I want to run because I don't feel like it's safe. And what were we discussing? Money. Okay. Do you all see that line, that thread that is so deeply ingrained in us that it shows up over and over and over? Anybody else? Yeah, it is a great movie. Anybody else relate to that? Maybe not to that extent, but can you start to see the way, like, that's our conditioned self, that 8 year old that runs up to my 24 or 25-year-old self and just says, run. And I react immediately. And I'm like, oh, I knew it. This isn't safe. Oh my gosh, what did I do? Right. And my husband's sitting there like, what the fuck just happened? Right. It all made sense in my head. It all made sense in my body. Everything was responding to that. Right. So, again, put a yes in the comments if you can relate to that, of just like reacting to a situation. It didn't necessarily meet, like, check the facts, right? It's like I wasn't in any kind of danger. There was nothing happening. My husband never has touched me. Like, we can argue and be okay, like now, 20 years later. But yeah, so many. Hey, Catherine, welcome. Totally. Yes, Abby. So being able to recognize that's the conditioned self. And when we're not aware of it, like I said, at 25, I was not aware that my 8 year old self was running up and being like, this is not safe. You have to get out of this, abandon ship, like jump over, like whatever it is that you have to do. And it was so real, right? That fear is so real. So it's so important to be able to recognize this and how it's impacting us, because otherwise we're going to continue our pattern of sabotaging, right? I went on for many years attempting to sabotage my marriage because I was so petrified. And again, that's just one example. I can give multiple examples. So we have all of these different experiences that have impacted us, and they impact us today too. So it's just about recognizing that. Our conditioned self is typically 99.9999999, I want to say 100%, the one sabotaging us. And not that she wants to, it's just that these are stored memories, stored experiences that hold space in our memory, in our body. We have somatic markers, we have memory markers, right? And that goes into neuroscience and physiology. Truly, we do. If you ever want to know way more about that, it's The Body Keeps the Score by Bessel van der Kolk. He has a great book. It's super dry and really depressing, but it's really informative about the way that our body actually holds on to these memories and then repeats them over and over and over, creating that sabotage. Okay. So yeah, but we have so many reactions that we don't even make connections to. And that's what I love to do. And that's what I'm really great at. That's my genius zone, is being able to connect all of these dots for you, so that you can get out of your own way and start living in your success and your legacy. That is my mission. That is my goal here. Okay. So when we're looking at this, maybe looking at some of the ways that you were made to feel unsafe, right? Maybe it was that you were taught that it's not okay to have your own opinion. Maybe you were punished for speaking up. Maybe you were verbally shamed or criticized, right? Maybe you were made to feel responsible for your caregiver's happiness, right? All of these really resonate with me. So, if any of them resonate with you, put a yes in the comments. Again, there's no shame in this. There is only awareness. Okay. So when we are looking at this, it's like you might have been like, your emotions may have been invalidated, right? I remember like my dad was always just like, it was okay to cry if you were like physically hurt, but not if you were like emotionally hurt or anything like that. He would say, what's wrong? Like, why are you crying? I'll give you something to cry about, right? Or, oh my God, stop being such a baby. When like you're highly sensitive. That's all very invalidating. So I want to point out a couple of signs that you are in your conditioned self, right? That, you know, when a situation happens and you immediately feel like something is wrong with you, right? Maybe you go into self-defense mode. That's another sign that your conditioned part is coming up to bat for you. It's just like, oh, right? Our conditioned self will come in fighting, like either fight, flight, or freeze. Okay. So it's the survival mechanism that actually is triggered when we do this. Another sign that you have a conditioned self, that you're in your conditioned self, is that you are a people pleaser. Or maybe you feel guilty for standing up for yourself. Or maybe you feel inadequate and are highly critical of yourself. Ladies, that's a big one. Put a yes in the comments if you are highly critical of yourself. Most of us are. It is a defense it's sabotaging actually. But this is definitely a defense mechanism to protect ourselves, because like if I'm critical of myself, nobody else can hurt me. That's a bunch of bullshit. Okay. Because we can still be hurt by people and then we're just shitting on ourselves constantly. Right. So yeah, you're the people pleaser. No reason to cover. We're all seen here. I was responsible, and this is where it comes from. You know, I felt responsible for making sure everybody was okay, right? I wanted to like ease everybody. I wanted to, you know, I was responsible for my family's, you know, happiness, my mom's. I felt that way anyways. I don't know if, again, I don't believe that was her intention, but that is how I internalized it. So, being able to recognize, and that's why we actually engage in self-sabotage, is for a protective factor. Okay. It is a protective factor where we come up like everything that I just described, right? It is so that we don't fail. I know it's so crazy to hear, but it's just like when I set a goal and then I self-sabotage and then I feel like a failure, but my younger self is like trying to protect me. It's craziness in there. Anybody else? Okay. It is craziness in there. I didn't say this made sense. It's actually does not make much sense at all, because what we want is success. Whatever that may be. We want a successful marriage. We want a successful relationship. We want a successful career. We want to love ourselves and be compassionate with ourselves. But what gets in our way? And again, there's so many things. But what it really boils down to is that self-sabotage is protecting us from something. When we have a big, beautiful goal, you know, this intention for our life, there is a lot of fear. Self-doubt comes in, right? But what it boils down to truly is fear, is that we're afraid. We're afraid to fail. Guess what, ladies? We're also afraid to succeed. Okay. Because of the insurmountable statements, beliefs that were instilled in us about either one of those. I know it's crap. I get so mad when I think about it. And again, not blaming, it's just about recognizing. So for instance, it was like so much is about community too. It's like fear of losing somebody, right? I remember I was so afraid. To tell my mother and my husband. Well, actually, I've been picking on my mom a lot. So I'll go to my husband, or I picked on my husband too. But either one, these are two very prominent people in my life. So I was so afraid to tell my husband, hey, hun, I'm going to start my own business because this is this business right here that I have. Because this has been 10 years in the making, right? I would start something and then I would stay for maybe a year, or I would spend a ton of time researching it and then it would never come to fruition. I would put a ton of effort, a ton of my heart, a ton of my focus into this new project, and then I would never carry it all the way through. I would back out. So anyways, I remember coming to him and saying, listen, I'm going to start this business. And he's always been very supportive. He has. And this last time, he's like, well, how long do you think this one's going to last? Was that not a dagger in my heart? Okay. Like I was like, oh, and then because I've been doing this work, right. And not just because I'm a psychotherapist, but because I've been doing the work, because I know a lot of psychotherapists that don't do the work and they don't have the awareness. So because I've been doing this work, I was able to recognize my conditioned self was hurt because I felt like a failure, which actually stems back from when I was 10 years old and my grandmother like beat my ass for making a B. It was my first B ever. And I felt so stupid. And she made it a point to tell me that I wasn't trying hard enough, that I wasn't smart enough, all this stuff, right? So do you see where that goes back to? So bringing it up to, hey, is that Shannon again? So bringing it back up to present day, right? And being able to recognize, like, so afraid to tell him because I felt like I was going to fail again and he would be disappointed in me, right? So being able to look at that. Or when my goodness, the self-sabotaging, like I had it on my radar to start working out more. I mean, like that's like a general one that most people have. I just wanted to feel better and all of this stuff. But then every single morning I would wake up and I would hit snooze and I would hit snooze. I'd be like, not today, not today. Because I didn't want to fail. I had a fear of failure because I have failed before, right? So that's why we engage in self-sabotage. It's craziness in the making, right? So let's look at the 5 different ways that you actually do self-sabotage your success, okay? So this is, again, I'm going to be a little bit more general, where these can fit in, these reasons can fit into any kind of dimension. Again, if it's success of a relationship, success professionally, personally, whatever it is, right? When we say, let's say I want to work on my relationship, right? I really want to put in the effort to allow myself to be vulnerable, to be all in on this. And again, like I've gone through 20 years, we have gone through a whole lot of growth and experiences, my husband and I. So I really want to, and this is something that I did, I really want to spend time with my husband and have a healthier relationship and have more discussions and have more date nights and stuff like that. Well, number 1 way that you're sabotaging your success, you stay busy. You don't find the time. You're like, you know what? I have this to do. I have that to do. I have this to do. I have that to do. You're not pausing or being intentional with the time that you have, right? Your actions are not aligning, right? They're not aligning with what you're saying you want. And a lot of times that is, again, that leads to us beating ourselves up again and again. Like, oh, you said, or we blame externally. Well, it's his fault that I have to do all the dishes or pick up the kids and he's not helping in this area and he's not helping in again. And I say he just because that's my relationship, whoever your partner is. Right. But anyways, we stay busy. We don't pause. We're not being intentional with our time. We are busy with tasks. We're not delegating because that's a whole nother thing. We could be too controlling too, which is perfectionism. These all integrate together. They're all tied together. Okay. So, or they can be anyways. So we're looking at not delegating, not asking for help. Right? That's another way that we stay busy. We might be too proud to ask for help, right? And a lot of times this is, and I'll speak for myself. I saw my mom do this. I saw my grandmother do this. I've seen so many of the women in my life do this, is that we do everything and then we act like the martyr, right? I'm in the martyr position. I wear my busyness like a badge of honor, which then brings me to the victim role. Oh, look at me. But guess what? There's a pro and con to everything. The pro of being the martyr is that everybody sees you. How do you do that? How do you do it all? Anyways, okay, there's so much I can dive into with this. It's wild. That's why I have a 6-month and a 12-month program because it's so much to dive into and uncover. So being able to recognize that staying busy actually sabotages your success. So look at the areas in your life that you're like, I really want to enhance this. And then you get too busy to do, right? You're just not prioritizing it. But staying busy is a way that you self-sabotage. Another way that you are sabotaging your success is creating chaos. Okay. With this, it is, we have this like set point, and this is something I talk about in my coaching program too. The Legacy Foundation is being able to look at, like, we have this joy set point. We only allow ourselves, hey Jen, welcome. We only allow ourselves so much joy. So another thing is, like, this is connected to deserving too. When we create chaos, right? When there's so many other parts of our life that are going so well, like, we might be really enhancing in our career, and we're really taking action in our physical health and our spiritual health, right? And then we start seeing our relationships with our family dwindle, or maybe we're having difficulties with our money. I'm just thinking about these different dimensions in our life. So with this, right, we start creating chaos in these other areas. It's like, I'm doing so well here, I'm too excited, I'm getting too happy about my life. I know this sounds absolutely bonkers, ladies, right? Anybody with me? Does this, just put bonkers in the comments if that's what you're thinking. Like, this is craziness. I didn't say that our brain makes sense, okay? I'm just pointing it out. So being able to look at, like, when we are, succeeding, I know that I, would do this where it's like, I'm doing really amazing in my career and I'm getting all the accolades. And this is so, many years ago when I was still in corporate, and I was just like killing it. And then at home, I was picking fights. I was, blaming my husband for the things that I couldn't do. And I was, so frustrated with him and stuff like that. I didn't know that what was coming up was like this deserving, this fear that, like, things are too good, right? Which again sounds crazy. And it happens. So we start creating chaos. That's another way that we sabotage our success. The last story of my life, the third way that we sabotage our success. This is a big one, and it's multifaceted, just like all of the rest. It's this whole long story. But when we don't address our relationship with money, okay, and this is professional and personal success, right? When you think about all of the different paradigm shifts that we need to do to unlearn what we have learned about money, and how we talk about money, and how we deal with money, and how we accept money, and how we celebrate money, or, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know what your relationship is with money, but whatever it is, it's about being aware of what that relationship is with money. Do you love it and hate it? Is it a love-hate relationship? You love having it and you hate needing it, right? This will sabotage your success if you do not shine a light on the stories that you tell yourself, or the beliefs that you have around being successful with money, okay? That's why I have an entire money mindset course within my program. It is imperative to address this if you want success in your life. Okay. The fourth way that you're sabotaging your success is waiting or spending too much time in exploration. And like, I would love to go into, if you want to learn more about exploration, just like put it in the comments, and maybe I can go into it. Not maybe, I know I can go into it a little bit more, where exploration is actually one of the stages of finding your life purpose. All right. But a lot of times we wait. We wait out of fear. We wait out of doubt, right? We're waiting for the perfect time. We're waiting for the perfect energy. We're waiting for the moon to be in the right phase, and then the waves of the ocean to be, heading in the right direction, and the wind is going in the same direction, right? Like it's, I know I'm being a little facetious here, but truly, it's like we're just like, oh, when this happens, or when that happens, or when this happens, right? Or, like I was thinking about how much time I had spent in exploration and like exploring the different things that I wanted to do, or whatever it is for my career. And this, again, I was thinking about doing a for-profit intensive outpatient in Georgia. We went and looked at buildings, like all of these things. And then I just dropped it like a fucking hot potato. Right. And because I was so afraid, like it was getting really real. So anyways, but I had so much fun. Does anybody else have so much fun, like researching and exploring and feeling into things and whatever? What that is, and that's so important to do when we're finding ourselves again, when we're, on that journey back to ourselves. It really is important to explore. But what happens is that we spend way too much time there, and then we drop it, and then we never get anywhere. So, we're waiting. We are too afraid to take those risks because of the underlying fears, right? Yeah, so great and so true. So good. Yes. So, being able to recognize that. And the last way that we sabotage our success, ladies, this is so important, is believing that we can do this alone, believing that we can succeed alone. There have been so many statements made to me when I was in corporate, climbing the corporate ladder, even as an entrepreneur, with other women. And again, like I surround myself with other women who are all about collaboration, who are all about community, because that is a value that I have. When I was failing, right? When I didn't follow through with my dreams, with my plans, it's because I felt that I could do it alone, right? I'm like, okay, I know I'm really smart. Anybody else in here really smart? Please toot your horn, because so many of the women, I would say it's like all 1,600 of you are very, very smart, right? So we often think like, I can do this. I got this. I know what I'm doing. Like I got it. What it is, though, is that we're holding back. I mean, we have pride, ego, all that stuff. So, anyways, that's a way that we sabotage, though, because I got stuck for 10 years trying to do it on my own. And again, it's so many layers to that. So there are three. Which one are you stuck in? Like, which one are you recognizing? Do you stay busy? Do you create chaos? Do you not address your relationship with money? Do you wait too long? Do you spend too much time? Do you wait for the perfect time and the perfect everything? And what we're really doing is like avoiding any risk. Or are you doing it alone? What is your main place that you're operating from when you're sabotaging, right? Is it out of those 5? So yes, I love that. Right? So being able to recognize that. So here are 3 powerful ways to embrace your success. Okay. The first is to heal your past. Everything that we talked about with the conditioned self, that there's healing in that. We have to go back and heal it, or else it's going to keep on coming up and coming up and coming up. When we are able to heal our past, right, we are able to then, the second powerful way to embrace your success is to embrace the present. Recognizing that today is your moment. Today is the day, right? This really came to, like, this was the catalyst. This embracing the present was really a catalyst after my dad passed. Like when he passed at the age of 57, all of a sudden in the ER and went right into ICU July 4th of 2019, and 40 days later was dead. Okay. There is no guarantee that you will have the next day to actually follow your dreams and to follow your passions and to follow this whatever it is, whatever your success is. Okay. Remembering that. So I know that's sort of a morbid way to look at it, but like embracing the present, we just have today, right? there's this saying, and when I was in the treatment programs and stuff like that, so I was a therapist in treatment programs for addiction and recovery. And they had this thing. It's like, if you have 1 foot in today, or 1 foot in tomorrow, and 1 foot in yesterday, you're pissing all over today. A nicer way is to say, like, it's called a present. Like, today is a gift, and that's why it's called present. Right. So anyways, looking at that is to be able to embrace your present, seeing what's right in front of you. This is also about seeing what's right in front of you. When we can identify that we're functioning from our past, right, from our conditioned parts, we're able to bring it to the present moment, to be more intentional with what we're doing and moving forward, and then we're able to align with our future in the most beneficial and the most authentic way, right? We can see our future clearly. We can see what's possible clearly, and that's what we want. So those are 3 powerful ways to embrace your success: is healing the past, embracing the present, and aligning with your future. So I'm really excited. So those are the 3, and I know I could go in depth. I can keep talking. We're already 10 minutes over, but this is, that's what my whole coaching program is based upon, is healing your past, embracing the present, and aligning with your future. So if you're ready to stop doing it alone, right? Stop doing it alone. Put that in the comments, right? I stopped doing it alone. If you're ready to take that next step, if you're ready to end the patterns, if you're ready to end this self-sabotage, we do have the doors of the program open to you. So be sure to schedule, we have all the information there. If it resonates with you, schedule a time with me, schedule a time with Renee, get on our schedule. Let's talk about it. We're here to guide you through the process. So they are open just until the end of this week. I'm so excited to be able to invite you into the program with so many powerful, beautiful souls who are all there doing the work, healing their past, so that they can really see what's right in front of them, so that they can see what is possible for them. And that is what our mission is here at the Institute for Female Trailblazers, is to help you see yourself clearly, to help you love yourself so passionately and powerfully that you are able to align with that big mission, with your success, and just really carry out your legacy. So we're so excited to be able to talk with you. Be sure to secure your time, and we're sending so much light and love to all of you. And we will see you again next week.